Valeu. 6 minutos vai entrar no ar. Obrigado. Todo mundo na Tijuca olhando para o palco.
Valeu, Fios! Aí, tá bom. Pode até voltar um pouquinho, beleza?
Atenção, maneiro da Tijuca, por gentileza.
chegou. Ok? Prepara. Filme esse momento, direção. Geral, abraça, abraça, abraça tua esposa, abraça tua namorada, abraça teu parceiro. Fala pra ele, eu te amo, tá? Fala pra sua amiga, eu te amo, amiga. Obrigado.
Não, aí não, Paulo, aí não. Senta aí, Paulo. Deixa ele dar. Deixa eu mostrar o caderno. Mas vem pra trás, senão não te dá pra confiar. Então vai estar comando.
Afasta um pouco, gente.
Narras, na Bahia, tava bom demais na Bahia, Narras. Narras, tava bom demais na Bahia, hein? 20 anos lá na Bahia, tava bom demais, não tava? Hein? Tem nada a falar nesses 20 anos, você tava lá de boa? Por quê? Inocente como? Como é que você vai provar?
Prova que eu sou culpado.
Hã?
Prova que eu sou culpado.
Mas você tava fugido 20 anos.
Fugido?
É, você tava lá, foragido.
Fora,
Hein?
Parece que você não sabe do processo, então, né?
Mas o processo?
Se informa se eu
Hein?
tô 20 anos fugido.
Você estava foragido, né?
Não tava, não.
E agora, como é que você vai fazer?
O que vai dizer agora?
É pra passar, mano.
Dá licença aí, campeão. Bom,
Vocês não respeitam, né, mano? Depois de achar ruim.
My name is Pat Griffiths and I work with the International Committee of the Red Cross, the ICRC, as a spokesperson in Jerusalem, but I'm speaking to you here from Gaza City. On Thursday, the International Committee of the Red Cross facilitated the return home of 15 deceased Palestinians. This marks the conclusion of a months-long operation to return home hostages and Palestinians as part of a broader agreement, the ceasefire agreement between Hamas and Israel. So since October since October last year, as part of that agreement, the ICRC has facilitated the return home of 20 hostages and more than 1,800 Palestinian detainees. We also facilitated the return home of 27 out of 28 deceased hostages and 360 deceased Palestinians. Now, this is the work that we've been doing to ensure that families who are separated from their loved ones or who are seeking answers can finally be reunited with them or receive some kind of closure. All of this work we do is for families who have questions about the fate or whereabouts of missing loved ones. And we've been performing this role since 2023. So since 2023, we've facilitated the return home of, in total, 195 hostages, living and deceased, and more than 3,400 Palestinian detainees, as well as 360 deceased Palestinians. So our role here is we meet with the relevant authorities, Hamas or Israel. We receive the detainees, the hostages, or the human remains from them. We make sure that their transfer to the other side and eventually to their families is done in a way that is dignified and is safe for all involved. That's our role as a neutral intermediary, and at the end of the day, it's a role we can perform because of our neutrality, right? And it's something we do for families who are seeking answers or who separated from their loved ones, so that they have some kind of closure or hopefully reunion. So the role of the ICRC here is really just to be a neutral intermediary between Hamas and Israel, to facilitate the transfer of the hostages, detainees, or human remains from one side to the other. When it comes to the human remains that were transferred between Hamas and Israel, it is the work of the forensic authorities on either side to begin the complicated and often slow work of identifying them. And this identification of the human remains is a vital step towards families receiving confirmation. Often it's the news that they want to receive the least, right? News that it's the most tragic news possible to receive. News that your loved one has been killed. But at the very least, to receive some kind of answer allows them eventually to receive the human remains of their loved one, to bury them according to their own traditions, and to mourn them, right? To mourn them and to have some form of closure. So in terms of the human remains that were received by us and transferred here on Thursday of 15 deceased Palestinians, now the work of forensic authorities in Gaza needs to happen to ensure that those human remains can be identified, families informed, so that the burials and mourning period can really start. At the same time, I want to say that forensic authorities here in Gaza do incredible work, but they do a lot of that work with one hand tied behind their back. We know that conditions in terms of forensic testing is really limited at the moment, and that's why the ICRC continues to call for improved humanitarian assistance to enter into Gaza. And this means advanced medical equipment that could facilitate the forensic response. It means allowing in heavy machinery like excavators that could be used as part of the search and recovery efforts to retrieve the human remains of many thousands that are thought to lie beneath the rubble in Gaza. So many families are waiting for answers. In Gaza, we have 5,500 at least open tracing requests for people, Palestinians in Gaza, whose fate or whereabouts remain unknown. For many of those families waiting for an answer to finally receive one, it's either the work of the forensic authorities here or the search and recovery teams that needs to be facilitated in order for them to eventually receive some kind of closure and to be able to either be reunited or to mourn according to their own traditions. I mean, even months after the ceasefire, I think it's important that people know that death and destruction for Palestinians in Gaza continues almost on a daily basis. So what I've seen in my time here are thousands of tents kind of cluttered close to the seaside with big families crowded into small spaces. People have nothing but a sheet of canvas between them and the elements. We know that in recent weeks there have been winter storms, tents have been flooded, tents have been blown away. So shelter is an urgent humanitarian need still, and a big question mark that needs to be resolved. Not least food. So more food is coming into Gaza. We've seen that since the ceasefire agreement. But still, food is expensive. Prices have gone down, but people don't have cash to purchase food. And that's because people don't have livelihoods. People who have lost their homes and been displaced multiple times have also lost their jobs. So it's hard for families, for parents to provide for their children, to earn so that they can look after each other. And for those who've been injured or who are injured in the ongoing hostilities, we know that access to medical care is also an issue. There are many, many people in Gaza who urgently need medical treatment that is not available here, right? So I think when it comes to the humanitarian situation right now, although we might have seen a decrease in the number of weapon-wounded patients at our Red Cross Field Hospital in Rafah, we still receive some, right? So I think looking forward, and the ceasefire agreement was cause for a little bit of hope, a glimpse of hope. And the opening of the Rafah crossing is a glimpse of hope for Palestinians here, but there's so much more work to do. It's a long road to recovery and rehabilitation. There is so much rubble to clear. There are so many thousands of people thought to lie buried beneath that rubble, and that rubble itself is contaminated with explosive hazards. The work to clear those hazards, to retrieve the human remains of those who've been killed is dangerous work, it's slow work, it will take a long time. And then the systems that people rely upon, whether it's education systems like schools and universities, or jobs, or even basic things like water and wastewater systems, electricity grids, all of these systems, these essential services that people rely on, have been damaged and are impeded in some way. And that's why the ICRC continues to call on Israel as the occupying power to facilitate the entry and access of humanitarian assistance into Gaza. This means things like pipes to repair broken water systems. This means things like medical equipment so that people here can get better care. And it means things like excavators, heavy machinery that will facilitate the work of search and recovery teams in Gaza right now.
thought I was safe. You were the ones that I needed. Breeze in the evening, and then you changed. You're all the same, yeah. It's too much to miss. You're the hug that's win. Though I've tried to hold on. If you knew me at all, you wouldn't try to keep me small. Who would do that to a friend, let alone the one you lost? And any choice you had worth making, I pushed you to take it. No questions asked, no doubt in mind. When they're mine, yeah, you react like I'm crossing a line. I'm too much to handle and just dial it back a bit. Well, I'm not having it, babe. It's too much to miss. You're the hug that's win. Though I've tried to hold on. And if you knew